are going to be pretty busy for you, with you're communicating with all these different people and arranging things, okay? So what I would suggest is that you hydrate. Welcome back. Ashley, Keller Williams Real Estate Everett. So this is video 1 of the 2025 Home Buyer's Guide, getting you ready to buy a house this year. So I thought I would start off with an overview. So there are basically 10 steps to buying a house, okay? And there might be some flexibility here and there, but there are basically 10 steps. And in this video series, we're going to go in depth into these areas so that you are the one who is in the driver's seat and in control of the transaction, right? Like, you want to be knowledged up so that you know where you can negotiate and so that you're not leaving anything on the table or being taken advantage of. I mean, like, all the stuff, all right? So the first step is finding the right agent, okay? And there's a couple of things that you want to look for. You want to know that the agent has familiarity with the area that you're looking in, okay? And depending on what you're looking for, like what your objective is for your purchase, you might want to also have an agent that is really well connected with mortgage lenders. Because, you find the house, it's great, but then it's like, how do you get the financing, okay? Next step, prepare your financing. So this step here may take you some time, right? Like, you may need to have a conversation with a mortgage professional and discuss your credit and anything else that goes along with that. So it just really depends on your individual circumstance. And so I would highly recommend having a conversation with a mortgage professional. Is there anything, do you need to fix your credit, or is your credit great? Is there anything else that needs to be done? How long have you been at your job? Do you have all of your documentation? What do your taxes look like? All of these things, okay? Next thing, getting pre-approved. So this is where the magic happens. You actually submit an application to a mortgage company and they let you know what they can offer you, okay? They're gonna say, okay, yep, we can offer you this much money. Usually they put like an approximate rate on there. As far as rates go, you will not know the rate that you will have until you lock the rate. And you really aren't able to lock the rate until you have an accepted offer, okay? So this is like kind of down the road from where we are right now. So accepted offer submitted. You let your mortgage lender know, hey, this is the house, here's the accepted contract. And then there's a conversation about locking the rate. Do you lock it that day? The mortgage lender's gonna be able to advise you. They're gonna let you know, like, here's what the market's doing. Lock it, don't lock it, here's where we are. And you make a decision. Next thing you do, start shopping for a house, okay? So this is like really the fun part, right? You have your consultation with your agent. You talk about all the mechanics of the transaction, like, okay, this is how you negotiate the contract. You understand what's in the contract before finding the house. You understand exactly how your agent will be compensated. You understand how all of that is working. And then you go shopping and you get to look at houses, okay? This is the best part. You get to be like, oh, okay, look at this kitchen. Look at this bathroom. Do you like it? How does it feel in here? Is this the area that you want to be in? What do you think about the block, right? How's the square footage? Is it updated enough for you? Do you want something that needs more updates? Do you want something that you can put your footprint on? Do you want something that's done and you can just move in? All right, so that's where we are. That's fun. Now, maybe the next step, harder part. So we're on step 5 right now. Step 5, make an offer, okay? Now, depending on the market you're in, you may be making several offers. So it a little bit depends on the competition. Like, is the price point that you're in and the home that you're looking for very competitive, or is it not so competitive? Like, can you go in and make an offer on the first place and get it? Who knows? You're gonna have to see step 1, talk to your agent. So make sure you've hired a great agent that can at least give you an idea of what you're up against in the market, okay? Now, on the offers, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. Make an offer, seller can counter your offer, there could be multiple offers, there's a lot of things that can happen. And so the hope would be that you've had the consultation with your agent and covered all of these possibilities so that when you are there in the moment, it doesn't feel rushed or pressured or confusing, okay? We're on step 6. Your offer got accepted, yay! All right, now you open escrow. Okay, so escrow is like the third party. They're like the neutral third party, and they're gonna be in conversation with the bank, the seller's agent, the seller, you the buyer, and your agent, okay? And they're gonna bring everybody together, and essentially what they're going to do, aside from clear title issues, I mean, that's important, is they're going to basically exchange you as the buyer, your money, for the seller's property, and they're gonna take the deed and they're gonna transfer it. So they're basically the people that do the actual transfer, all right? And make sure that it all gets handled legally, that it gets recorded, all of that stuff, all right? So that's what escrow does. And this is the point here in Washington State when you would submit your earnest money, all right? So you'd submit your earnest money according to the contract. Depends on what you write in there. Could be 2 days, 3 days, whatever. And then boom, they have it. All right. And the earnest money is a refundable deposit depending on the contingencies that are pre-written, you know, because you made the offer, pre-written into your offer, what contingencies you have. All right. So kind of simultaneously, you open escrow, you're on to step 7, quickly getting the inspection order if you have an inspection contingency. So inspections in Washington State can go a bunch of different ways in our market. So sometimes the seller provides an inspection and wants you to look at it in advance. Sometimes there's no inspection that's been done. Sometimes competition is so fierce that you might not be able to do an inspection. You might just need to buy the house as is, okay? So it really depends on the situation. See step 1, hire the right agent, okay? So you're gonna order your inspection. If you have an inspection contingency, you will hire your inspector. So here in the state of Washington, it needs to be a licensed inspector, or you yourself as the buyer may do the inspection, and that is pretty much it. You can't have Uncle Rob do it. It has to be you or a licensed inspector, or there are some licensed professionals that have ability to come and take a look, okay? So you go through all your list. Hopefully, when you've walked through the home with the agent, you have an idea of what concerns you have, okay? And that way, the agent might be able to put you in touch with other professionals. You might be able to look up other professionals, however you want to do it. Like really, the beauty of purchasing a home in Washington State is that it's really just kind of like an outline. Like it's like kind of like a, you know, fill out your own book, have your own journey situation, okay? So you completed the inspection, you found some things, you're gonna negotiate your final offer. Okay, so if there are things that come up in the inspection and need to be negotiated, this is why you have your agent. Okay, so you'll have that. They'll have that conversation. You'll put in your requests, whatever they are. Great, done. All right, that's step 8. Now we're on to step 9. Now this is kind of like, you know, step 9 is a bit of a big step. Okay, this is like where you're coordinating the move, right? So there's a lot of things that are happening. So you've negotiated the final offer. The final things have been submitted to escrow. All right. The lender is in the background working with their underwriting team to get you final loan approval. Okay, so they're working. Escrow is having a communication with the lender. I'm communicating with the lender. The seller's agent is communicating with the lenders and the escrow and all that stuff. So we're all having conversations. And what you're doing during this time is if there are documents that you need to submit to your lender in addition to your original application, you are timely getting those documents over to the lender and also communicating with escrow, because escrow will be asking for things, okay? So you'll be coordinating that and coordinating the move, okay? So it just really, like this coordinating the move really just depends on your circumstance. I mean, if you have a lease and let's say you've got 2 or 3 months and you don't have to move right away, then you could just kind of do the closing process, all right? If on the other hand, you really have like a very tight timeline and you have to get out of your current place right away, then you're gonna be busy packing, you're gonna be finding moving companies, you know, you're gonna be, you know, changing schools, you know, if needed. You're gonna be looking at homeowners insurance, you're gonna be looking at car insurance, you're gonna be doing all of these things, okay? Now, with all of this happening, there's gonna be like the appraisal. I mean, like this is kind of like where it's a very busy, you know, like 21 days, right? Because typically the closing period is somewhere between 28 and 45 days, but I would say closer to 30. And it could be even shorter. It just depends on the competition in the market. Like it might be 21 days. So, you know, the next, like, I would say like 2 to 3 weeks are going to be pretty busy for you, you know, with you're communicating with all these different people and arranging things, okay? So what I would suggest is that you hydrate, okay? Drink lots of water, exercise, make sure you're taking care of yourself, staying on your email, having good communication with your agent, having good communication with your lender, okay? Step 10, closing day. All right, so now closing is right around the corner. You've got final loan approval. We're like 3 or 4 days out and you're like, man, Ashley, I am excited. I can't wait to buy this house. Okay, so we're almost at closing. You know, by this point, you should have final loan approval, okay? And we're like 2 to 3 days out, all right? Or maybe 3 to 4 days, okay? Schedule a final walkthrough, okay? Have your agent do this, especially if you had inspection requests, right? You might even want to do it sooner, right? If you had some repairs that you wanted the seller to do, you definitely want to go back out there and see, is it done? Okay? So you'll go out there, you go and check that out, you'll do your final walkthrough, you'll make sure, you know, like you really want to make sure that like when the seller moved, they didn't like damage the house. I mean, there's a lot of things to look at. Like a lot of things, like this is going to sound a little bit weird, but you know, a lot of things can happen during closing. Now, if it's a vacant property, you definitely want to go. If it has been freezing cold outside, you want to go. If it's been raining like hell, you want to go. And let me tell you why. Because see, part one, pick the right agent. You know, you want to make sure that the home is in the same condition it was when you put your offer in, all right? So now, you do your final walkthrough, everything is great. You're like, thumbs up, boom, we still want to buy it, all right? So now, we're at closing, right? Like what's gonna happen now is this escrow and your lender are gonna be working and they're gonna figure the final figures, like the numbers. And they're gonna contact you and they're gonna be like, okay, this is what you need to wire to us. So you wire it, you can get a cashier's check. You know, you got some options, all right? Get the final funds to close to escrow. Escrow will have that. And then they will schedule you to sign, and they will schedule the seller to sign, so everybody will sign all the closing documents. They'll review all the numbers with you. They'll review the terms of your mortgage, the deed, all of these things. It's like a big piece of package of paper. You have to sign your name a billion times, the same way every time, initial it the same way every time, with your ID, notary, boom. Okay, now that's done. Usually, if possible, this is like when it's a really nice smooth closing, this will happen like a day or two before closing. So a day or two before closing, you'll do your signing, and then those documents will get sent back to the lender. The lender looks at them, says, hey, these are good. They send their money over, you send your money over, those funds combined, sale is done. Escrow sends the documentation to the county. County then says, yep, this looks good to go. We've transferred it. Boom, you just bought your house, okay? So this is like the day, like usually all of that stuff happens, like the lender sending the money, you sending your money, escrow sending the information to county approving it, and all that stuff usually happens the day of closing, okay? And it usually takes the entire day. And, you know, I wish I could say that we're gonna be easier, you know, but it usually takes the whole day, you know? And you know, most of the time, it's kind of because it gets held up at county, but you know, it could be the lender too. Like it just, there's so many things that can happen. Okay, so that's done. Your agent and escrow contact you and say, hey, congratulations, you purchased your house. And you're like, yes, we bought it. Okay, great. Now, when can you move in? Well, it's gonna depend on what the contract says. So state standard contract says a certain time of day here in Washington state. That may or may not be the case. It just depends on the situation. So get with your agent. Make sure you arrange everything so that you all know when you can actually take actual possession of the property. Now, did you agree to do a rent back? Okay? I don't want to like kind of like leave you here on a cliff there, but if you had a rent back and that means that the seller is going to stay in the property after closing for a certain time period, you wouldn't move right away. But let's assume you didn't, because I'll talk about rent backs later. Then congratulations. You're gonna meet with your agent. You're gonna be so happy they're gonna give you the keys and you're gonna get to move into your brand new home. So that's it, right? Like, that's like the kind of like overview. Like if we could get this done in like, you know, like 15 minutes to kind of understand the big picture, That was it right there. All right. Now from here in this series, we're going to go more in depth into all of the steps. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and I'll see you again on the next one. Take care.